Welcome everyone back to another episode of Q&A with Sharon's son George. I was my mother's caregiver after she was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease. Sadly, she passed on 1/1/2020, but we started Together for Sharon.com in her memory and to raise awareness and advocate for a cure for all those still battling Parkinson today and their families, because no one is ever alone in this fight for a cure. Today's guest, someone I call family. Hope she is okay with it. But we're doing a few beautiful things in the future. The one's top secret, but the rest are all something that's just so inspiring. I don't really know. She'll tell us if we should say new, but it's just incredible how it's caught on like, like lightning. I don't know any better metaphor to use because it's just literally reaching the world. And that's something I'm really excited to talk about. I wanted to welcome you, Molly, to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here and talk about rock climbing.
Well, I always joke with you, but I'm serious. I feel like you're a celebrity because not only are you doing things for the Parkinson's community and for so many out of the community, but also you're reaching, the big time media, which I find we need more of. And I just wish we could continue that. So maybe we could start the show today. If you could tell our audience a little bit about your background and what you're doing today with some incredible organization, which I'll let you unveil.
Yeah, so I've worked at a rock climbing gym as a director for the last 16 or so years, and I obviously love rock climbing. That's why I started working here. And then actually several years ago, many years ago in 2012, I was in charge of our programs at the gym and teaching a lot of lessons. And I had somebody with Parkinson's who reached out and they were interested in trying climbing to see if it would help them. And I was the one who got the email, and I fortunately was the one who got it. And then I just told him, yeah, absolutely, like come into our gym. I'd love to work with you. At the time, I'm very into neurobiology. I know a lot about the brain. There's too much to know to say I know a lot. Actually, I probably know 2%, 2.2%. But I am very interested in it. And so, but I didn't know a lot about Parkinson's. So I kind of, did a little Google searching, learning about it. I figured this could be helpful. Climbing is a very adaptive sport. And it kind of started with him. I worked with that guy for a short period of time, and, the rest is history. It helped him, and then we just grew from there. So we have been doing it for quite some time now.
I have so many questions, so little time, but I always say after the lights, camera, and paparazzi leave today, our conversation has to continue. So I do hope everyone not just listens, shares, but supports all that you do because I'm curious. The next question, really, which it's kind of been burning in my stomach to ask, is how did you I maybe just because of your work, but how did it catch on so amazingly around the world through media? I'm talking about big time, like CBS, NBC, all the big, big, big ones that I wrote 15 letters 10 times to and have had crickets back. But that's why I love jumping on the train of your success and making sure the world knows about upending Parkinson's, because obviously I went once with my wife when we were dating to a rock climbing place in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. I'm a pretty, I've been working on my whole life now. I can't as much, but I thought I was so strong. Like literally after 1 minute, 2 minutes, I couldn't even do it anymore. My wife was flying up the thing, she's 5'4" and very skinny, but she was able to do it. So it's not really for everyone, but my real curiosity is really, what do you think it was that since you've been doing it so long, all of a sudden in 2024, this took off so big?
Yeah, so I've done it for a long time with a small group of people at the gym where I work at. And it was so beneficial and at the time, I Google it and there's nothing out there in 2012, just like zero. And so I was like, wow, this is crazy. It's helping people so much that are here. And I felt like it was my duty to share it with people, like that people needed to know how beneficial it was. And so at the time, I didn't know how to do that exactly. I was like, I don't know, people being like, oh, you just need to start this business or do something and let people know, grow it. And so I kind of just sat in limbo for a while and really just let people come to me locally. And then I wrote a few articles here and there, pretty small ones. And then in 2022, I decided to make it a nonprofit. And I wanted to do research and I wanted to spread it to gyms across the country. And so that's when I kind of really was like, okay, it's time to game on, time to get some media coverage and let people know about this. So I think that I think I'm lucky for is part of the reason I got people to listen and do it, the news stories. And it's also that I tell everybody about it. Like I'm constantly talking about it. And I'm sure everybody is that way. I'm pretty passionate about it. I don't mean to be, but people always say, "Wow, you really believe in this." And I'm like, "Yeah, wholeheartedly. That's why I'm doing it." And I think that comes across when I talk to people. And so climbing's also intriguing for people with Parkinson's. Like that's unusual to put those two things together. And I think that catches people's attention too. And it's kind of been like, you get one article published in Outside Magazine, I think is where we had it. And then, that's when NBC saw that and they reached out. And then, REI wanted to do a podcast. And so it's kind of like once you start, it's easier to get more. And now, I can be like, oh, we were on, you know, CBS with Leslie Stahl, and people are like, oh, cool. Like, yeah, come on over. We'll do an article with you or a podcast or whatnot.
Yeah, that was beautiful, and I've shared that actually a lot, and I'm gonna keep doing it. Leslie Stowe, I heard, was actually in my county, and I wasn't invited, so I'm still not as cool in the cool kids group yet, but we'll keep fighting no matter what. But I do want to now move a little bit because we have a lot to do. And first of all, thank you for being here live. Thank you for being a friend and for all that you do, especially because I know how busy you are. But I also want to thank you for the interview we've done in the past, the written one. If everyone goes to togetherforsharon.com, click interviews. Everything again is always free just for advocacy. It's amazing. It's going to be a year. We've known each other. It goes fast, but I love that you're such an open and honest and also always there for me. So that means a lot to me. But everyone, if you go there, you can see a lot more about all the incredible things Molly's done, doing, and will do in the future, how to reach out to her, and also a lot more in depth that we wouldn't have the time. But now I always say if we had a drum roll, which I tried and it didn't work out, this is the most important thing today. And that's everyone, please go to upendingparkinson.org. I'll also add that to the show. But maybe you could tell us as I kind of scroll a little, show everyone about the website because I think it's very powerful, even just literally the first picture. And what fascinated me before we met, and when I learned about this, is the people, and also that I couldn't do it, and I don't have Parkinson's. So it's fascinating, really. It's got to be more biology, or something, or some drive like you have to do this that pushes someone to be able to do that without fear of falling or hurting themselves. We had a few incredible individuals. Vivek, I know you know well. We actually had a gentleman who does this and has a film out in another country, and he's so amazing to talk to. I mean, we had big 7-10 hour time difference, but it's amazing how this is going, around the world, not just in the U.S.
Yeah, I have some people internationally I'm talking with about starting programs. We started a few international, and I think it really is it's catching on. I think one thing important to talk about, looking at, you can probably scroll and find some of the pictures. A lot of the media coverage we get, they tend to highlight perhaps the people that are a little bit more well-spoken and able to articulate themselves. Whereas when a lot of people with Parkinson's have voice becomes an issue as it goes along. And so those people in our group tend to not get interviewed. And I think it's important to note that like we have people who climb who are in their 90s and 80s and people, with walkers and wheelchairs. It's not just the people who are recently diagnosed or who are younger. We have a whole repertoire of people who are actually able to climb. And I think it's because climbing is very adaptive. I wonder if when you went the first time, if they put you on like a really vertical or like more than vertical overhanging wall, because we do have walls that kind of slant forward where if you were very well balanced, you could climb them without your hands even. So like there's different variations of angles that really help with making it more adaptable.
And look at this beautiful photo. That's my favorite. You can really, everyone should go to upendingparkinson.org. You can sign up for the newsletter. You can read more about all the incredible board, the office, and we send our love and support to everybody in the staff. Also, anyone who's a member and helping you to make this a success. Because I feel if we reach just one person today, they didn't even know about rock climbing and how it can slow the progression of Parkinson's, which is something that means a lot to me, and I know you think we could change the world for so many. So I really appreciate that. I also like that you pointed out the importance of the other individuals, the news, of course, I love them sometimes. Sometimes, they put what they want or can. Obviously, I know they need to have someone who can, communicate at that moment. But on this show, we have had people who have Parkinson's from every stage of life, whether it was young onset. I have a friend who's become someone I love who was on the show, and unfortunately, she announced on the show that she was now wheelchair bound. But, sometimes you have to show the reality of Parkinson's. We can't hide it. And many times people don't really even want to hear my journey because my mother, unfortunately, is no longer with us. But I feel we need to bring everybody who's lost a loved one back into the conversation. And, with the 20 million or more people who lost someone, maybe not because of Parkinson, maybe because of Parkinson, maybe because of whatever it is, I feel we'd be closer to a cure and we'd have a whole lot more people climbing mountains. I think you'd run out of the mountains if we had everybody back. And then this is also some clips from CBS. I used to play them, but a lot of the time, as I think just happened for some reason, even though I have high speed, it froze. I just wanted to at least show it, but everyone can type in, Molly's name or Upending Parkinson's, can type in CBS, NBC, and see a lot of incredible news media, which I love sharing because it's so beautiful, and we have some
Yeah,
fellow individuals joining us.
Joining our chat.
Well, the good thing is now we get to the fun part, so hopefully they can join in. I wanted to, although to me, again, the whole show is fun. So wondering if you could start us off. Can you list 3 words that describe who you are?
Oh, geez, that's a tough one. Passionate would definitely be one of them.
You thought Leslie Stahl had hard-hitting questions. You didn't come
I
to
know, I know. I should have thought about this. Passionate, and I would say,
With one size big, one size too.
gosh, I'm sure there is a word for this. I like to figure things out that I don't know. So studious.
I love those.
Um,
No, those are great. And is there one moment, because I know you have many, but one moment or most memorable moment you can share with the audience that stands out through all your advocacy so far?
I've been asked this question quite a bit, and I always answer with something different.
Oh, really? I thought
Yeah,
I thought I was original. Now you just
so I'm not saying you're not original. It's a great
next
question,
time I'll
right?
ask you for the question, so I know now.
No, it's a good question. I think
By the way, I do love the background because we get to see the rock
you get
climb.
to see the rock climbing now. Yeah, there you go. I think that
Nobody
so
fall.
you saw the picture.
I just fell.
They're bouldering. They're not using ropes over there. We don't do that with our group. But I think that you saw outdoor pictures on the website. Most of our programs are indoors, so we have 39 locations, soon to be like 60 actually. But we're getting about one every week and a half. But we do outdoor programs too. And one of my favorite memories was at an outdoor program. And there's a guy he's wheelchair bound, and we wheeled him out to the top of the climbing area and then had some guides there helping us rig and like lower him to the bottom, and then help him out of the wheelchair and get to the wall, and with some assistance with I got to lucky enough to climb next to him so I could kind of help him, show him where to put feet and hands and stuff. But he made it to the top. It took about an hour, and that's not an exaggeration. He stayed on the wall and worked hard for an entire hour. He was wiped for like 2 days. But it was one of the coolest moments for me, and then the other probably 30 people who were there. It was just really cool to watch that.
Thanks for sharing. That's beautiful. And if you ever have a studio or star one in South Florida, please let me know. I'd love to come visit and say hi.
We do have one in Florida.
South Florida? Which
Yeah,
part?
Miami.
We need some in closer to my area, I guess, Palm Beach.
Yeah, not quite there yet.
Next is an important question to me personally. I hope you haven't been asked all these. We try to be original, but sometimes, and maybe a lot of time, this is not easy. I mean, obviously you're doing inspiring work, but you're working with individuals who having some days could be tough, some might not. But just curious, because this show we shine the light obviously on you because you're the spokesperson. But we like to also thank those behind the scenes that don't want to be seen, and I'll bring them out. Just obviously verbally, not physically, because we don't want you to get in trouble. But I was wondering who helps you during times of struggle, because again, there's days where I don't know if I can keep going, but then I look to you and everybody listening and all the things, the people you're helping, and it really does drive me to want to keep fighting. But is there someone special behind the scenes that helps support you?
I mean, obviously, I guess I shouldn't say obviously. People don't know my husband. My husband's very supportive. I think that helps, having a care partner or spouse, that's super supportive. I couldn't imagine if he was like, this is silly, go do something else with your life. So that's super helpful. And then we have so many volunteers in our group, like hundreds of people that volunteer to help their time to help belay at all the different locations, help with like communications, help with so much stuff. And that's super inspiring to me too. I mean, if they're willing to do this on their free time, help out, then obviously I'm going to put my best foot forward too.
I send my love and support to your husband, whole family, and the whole staff and all the volunteers for helping support you to be able to do what you're doing today. This is a question I'm curious myself. Likely someone listening might have just been diagnosed with Parkinson's. What if they wanted to meet Molly and come into one of the studios? What would that experience be? Because maybe I know when we had Rocksteady, Ryan, the CEO, it's not always, people want a box, but some of them think like me, you're going to get punched in the face and they don't sign up, which is not what they do. Obviously, they don't, there's no context. So I'm just curious, what would you tell someone just diagnosed who just discovered the ABC story or upending Parkinson's and are curious but tentative? How do we explain that they are welcome and that this might help change their lives and at least have them smiling a little bit more?
Yeah, I guess it's a hard thing. I guess if they're listening, that makes it easier. That it really does. It really does help. I can't tell you the number of people I've met that were recently diagnosed and coming in. It's like very emotional for them to even come in because they're like, I wouldn't have to be here if I didn't have Parkinson's. But then it's like, and I feel like a month down the road, they're saying, oh, I get to be here because I have Parkinson's. It's like I wouldn't have found this. So, I mean, I look at it as like an opportunity, and I always say just go watch the group, hang out, think of it as a social event instead of an actual like climbing event. So, being social is great too. And then hopefully, you see it and you're like, oh, I want to try this. And then also, I know some people who are just diagnosed often don't want to go into a group setting. Just the fear of, being around other people that were diagnosed with what they have. They might not want to see that yet. And so I encourage them to reach out to me or reach out directly to the gym and maybe set up like a private session just so you can try climbing, and then go from there. The group really is fun though.
Thank you. And this is a next question, one I ask everyone, but I'm going to change it for you because I don't know. I don't think you need the promoting, but what I want to ask you is how can we all, listeners, even myself, even though, I'm trying hard, but how can we help promote you and what Upending Parkinson does? Because obviously you're doing great, but even if we could get everyone else on board to try to ensure the world knows what you're doing, how can everyone listening help too?
Yeah, it's again, the connections people have. So, I mean, if anyone knows anybody that, wants to write an article, do a podcast, do a TV show, we always need donations. That's a big thing. We want to make this program free everywhere. Right now, it's free at many of our locations, and discounted at others. But I mean, if we had the funding, it'd be great to make it free everywhere. And then if anyone's interested in volunteering or knows somebody who'd want to volunteer, it doesn't have to be just belaying and being climbing. There's like some behind the scenes committees that can help with, my social media page. I mean, because it's really just me. So anybody that can help me, I would be thankful for.
Well, you accomplish so much. I mean, everyone comes up to me at events and things like, they think we're a giant thing and it's just me. So it's like we have a lot in common. But if you were asked to write a script to a movie, which you might already have, so we won't ruin the surprise, but about your life story, what would you call it and what actress would play your role? That's what we
You're,
want from our guests. There you go. The mission accomplished.
yeah, I definitely haven't been asked this, and you're asking like, I mean, I know like four actresses' names, and I'm not
You can
exaggerating.
play yourself. We'll let you
Um,
play.
well, I would want to be the ones I know I obviously like Julia Roberts, and I don't know
Uh,
why, just because she's awesome and Pretty
I don't know
Woman,
if
right?
she'd want to be, I don't know if she's want to climb walls at this point, right?
Yeah,
Or that-
I honestly don't know any actresses' names, and then
Go for it.
movies, I would go with obviously Defying Gravity.
I love that. Thank you. And if you had an opportunity to meet a younger Molly, maybe 10 years ago, before you started this journey, you know, what would you say to her about awareness in park? You might not be aware of it.
Well, I mean, I was doing this 10 years ago, and I wanted it to be half of what it is right now. So, I mean, I would be like, just keep going. You'll get there. I think I've far exceeded where I thought it would go, and hopefully it keeps growing.
I believe it will. And is there you know, as you're climbing, is there like your theme song or some kind of song that's your favorite climbing up some of those tough mountains? You know, my family is big fans of Amazing Race. I only watch it in Survivor because I won't be going on the show. So I'm just curious, is there something kind of motivates you when, you know, you're up there and, you know, you don't want to look down?
Oh my gosh. So, um, I sing Happy Birthday to Me.
You,
I'm not kidding. That's what I say. Because you have to kind of distract yourself. And so I don't know why that just kind of helps. Plus, I can't think of lyrics when I'm probably up on the wall. When I used to swim, I was a swimmer growing up. I swam in college. I'd say Eye of the Tiger. I was like obsessed with that song. It was super motivational.
I love that. And if Sylvester Stallone happens to live in my county, if he's listening now, we want Molly. The three of us should have a show and we'll have you try the rock climbing. But he had a movie called Cliffhanger, so I think he's already a little bit
Oh,
better.
yeah.
I'm a big fan. Who's your hero and inspiration?
I probably the guy who started the climbing with me. His name's John Lesson, and yeah, he's wonderful.
Tell him we say hi and thanks for guiding you to this incredible world. And really, the last area I did want to touch because I think it's something important. We always have fun and never really get to talk about it. But, you know, there's a lot of research now, and me and you and many others are working on something beautiful, and I think will go around the world. I've never seen anything like it. We'll just leave it at that. But you know, the big thing about rock climbing is not just it's fun and things, which it is, and the family can go, but how it can slow the progression of someone with Parkinson's. Is there, I know we're both not MDs or scientists, we do have many of those on the show, but can you comment about, you know, slowing the progression if someone out there doesn't realize it? You know, we know a lot more now research 10 years ago. My mother was battling 5 years ago, unfortunately, when she passed. Honestly, I never would have even thought of rock climbing. But I think, as you mentioned, for anyone of all ages, I'm just curious your comments or thoughts on slowing the progression of Parkinson's through rock climbing.
Yeah, I got
Somebody
so I
just
got
fell. As you speak, someone just fell.
so somebody's about to fall again. But I got the good fortune of being actually a researcher on a team. I have two other researchers. I always show our three pictures because we're like the three researchers, and I always put passionate underneath for my title, whereas they have like PT, PhD. They have 1,000 letters after their names.
That's like,
But it's Andrew Guccione and Julie Reese that did the study with me through Marymount, and it was actually published about 2 weeks ago in the Archives of Physiotherapy, and it was a pre and post study. So we did testing before for brand new climbers, people who hadn't climbed before, and then did X number of sessions for a couple months, and then tested them again to see what improved. And it's a study, it's a great study. It was obviously we had to be like very particular with who could join the study and that stuff. I'd love to do many more, but I mean the benefits were shown to be, significant and pretty good, for physical movements, things like walking and carrying things, going up and down a stair, agility, a bunch of very practical movements that improved after 24 climbing sessions. So I think that's just the tip of the iceberg, I think, with what it actually is helping. But it definitely helps. I think exercise in general is just so important. Anything you can stick with, and climbing's fun, so people tend to stick with it. It's different than just sitting on a bike all day.
I want to thank you for everything. Like literally, and even today was so fascinating. because of what you shared and also behind the scenes, because I have a different show. It's called the virtual, on the road with Q&A with Sharon, Son George on the road virtual. And we go to events live, and now we've actually don't have to, because we actually were able to find, and this is great. I hope more guests in the future can have people falling behind us. Not
So
hurting.
these are boulders. They're climbing without ropes. So we don't do that in our group. I feel like I need to specify that. We don't do, we have everybody roped in, so they just fall into the air.
I love it. So cool. Oh, there goes another one. This will be a great show. This one we'll have to replay many, many times. But wondering if you could leave the Parkinson's community today with some words of encouragement, what would those be?
Stay as active and positive as possible. Surround yourself with people. I'd say, you know, being physically active. I mean, if you look at anything, any disease in the world, they're like, oh, what's the number one thing to help it? It's like, oh, being physically active. So I just think that's so important. It's underrated, or maybe it's overrated to some people, but it's really important. And then the social community, keeping yourself, busy talking with people. I think that's really important too.
Thank you. Yeah, and I wanted to also encourage everyone again to please follow Molly at ENDing Parkinson's on their website, donate, join them, volunteer, and really I think you'll have such fun, but also be inspired, and you'll be with others in group setting. And I just think it's a beautiful thing, and it's not something that now many of us are unaware of. And through everyone else out there listening, sharing this, supporting Molly, I think we can definitely get the world to be aware if they're not already. So I want to thank you again, Molly, for your time. I have a little message for you and everyone listening. We love you. We support you. We care a lot about you, and you're never alone. I, along with Molly, will advocate for you and also the entire ENDing Parkinson team. And together, I feel our voices are so much stronger. And I always end the show for now with just saying I'm just getting started, because obviously I've been doing this 5 years. Molly's been doing this 10 years, but on days that I have tough things, or all of us have, health issues, or just the world is some days a little wacky out there, we might feel like giving up, but then we look to you, Molly, and not to get everyone all sad, but you truly do inspire me, and all that you do and the things and the time that you make, because even though you're a famous celebrity, in my opinion, you still are always just there for me, whether it's email, phone, or anything. And that really says a lot about everything to me. So from our heart to yours, we love you, and everyone out there. Just so grateful for the time today. Thank you again.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
Well, welcome again. Just been an honor, and welcome again, everyone, for joining us. But also stay tuned, because we have a lot more to come. As everyone knows out there, please share this. We need to get the world aware of Parkinson's disease, not just all of our beautiful community. But please stay tuned until the cure is at everybody's doorsteps around the world. Molly won't stop, and I won't stop fighting right by your side. This has been another episode of Q&A with Sharon, Son George. Thanks, everyone. We send our love and stay tuned. So much more to come. Thanks.